Hey everybody, this is Cameron over at WeStock. Today we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to read a data report that we send out to you, and then also how to act on that data report and really put the data that we're sending to work for you. So we send these data reports every 2 weeks. They will come under the subject line of WeStock report. And when you open up that report, it's going to look like this. And so we're using this brand called Night Food as an example today. It's going to show breakdown, summary, brand links, product links, and trend summary. And we're going to go into all those files and folders right now and just give a quick overview of what each report means for you and your business. So we're going to start with the brand request file. So that's going to be the first file you're going to want to open. And if you do anything, it's great to just open up this file and see what the traction's been every 2 weeks on your product. And so with this, you'll be able to see you've got 799 total requests. But the more important thing here is the unique requests. So this is going to show that you have 146 customers. The reason why these two numbers are different is obviously this brand has more than one SKU. So this is multiple customers. This is 146 customers requesting multiple SKUs, which is why you have the difference. So what I would say is check out this really quickly every 2 weeks and just make sure this number is increasing. And then if not, we can always schedule a time to chat about marketing efforts. The second folder is going to be product requests. And this breaks down that previous sheet, but by SKU. And this is a great really document to see, okay, which items are performing the best, which ones are slacking, and what maybe we can do to increase the performance of those particular SKUs. So you can see here, cookies and cream has 115 requests. Obviously, you don't have to worry about that SKU. With cherry eclipse, cold brew decaf, those ones seem to be a little bit lower. So what I would think if I was part of this company and reading this report is like, okay, let's look at the copy for those for those SKUs. Let's look at the product images. Let's see how if we can tweak those to resonate a little bit better with the customer. And then let's kind of cross-reference this with our sales. Are these also the three that are performing the worst in terms of our sales? Is there something that we can do about that? The nice thing about this report is if you do have to make those hard decisions about maybe cutting a product out of your product line, yes, you can look at sales numbers, but going back to this and just making sure that public opinion also matches your sales numbers is a great tool just to make a decision with more confidence. I will say this for smaller brands that might not have a ton of sales data and might not be comfortable when they go into a buyer meeting or go into a retailer meeting and they ask you to basically pick the set and tell them which 3 or 4 SKUs are going to sell the best on the shelf. If you don't feel comfortable in your sales data and maybe you're super early on, this is a great report to go to and just confirm that, the 4 or 3 SKUs that you're going to lead with into a new store launch are the most successful and the most popular. All right, so this is kind of the big report that we send out to you. And really the core function of WeStock is seeing where your requests are by store. That really is, the proprietary thing that we perform and where all of our data derives from. So for here, you're going to see, product name, store name, street, city, state, zip, and then unique request here. So this 2 shows that 2 people at this Pavilion store have requested the exact same flavor, which is actually a great metric and really something we should, lead with when reaching out to pavilions. Now, the biggest question we get is how many requests is enough to reach out? And so for me, if I was the sales director of a company or if I was, working off of this data, I would start reaching out as soon as I got one request for a multitude of reasons. One being there's a slow sales cycle business. So by the time you actually get that meeting, after the sample requests and after the initial meetings, you're probably going to have more requests than just 1 or 2 or 3. And so if you go through this whole process and 3 months later you have 10 requests, that's great. You can notify all 10 of those people when you launch into that store. Again, too, you're already trying to open up these accounts. And so you're leading with your story, the flavor of the product, your traction so far. So why not lead with hey, I'm reaching out to you because I specifically have 3 or 4 customers that are asking for my product at your store. That's going to be such a refreshing take for that buyer. And you're really coming from a point of, I'm trying to service your customers in your store versus, hey, I'm just trying to push my brand on you. Can I have a meeting? And so that's really the 2 biggest parts that I see. So I would definitely reach out right away. The next thing is, what really is the function of this sheet? And I would say the biggest function here is prospecting new accounts. As a sales director, I understand how long it takes to find new accounts, figure out where your customers are, figure out if that retailer is right for you, and just putting together a call list of, okay, who are we going to focus on? Which retailers do I really want to be calling on, emailing on, making sure that I go see at a trade show? And so what this list does is it really gives you a blueprint that you don't necessarily have to follow. But if you want to, it gives you a blueprint of, hey, these are where specific customers are asking for our product. Let's start working off of this sheet. Let's start researching who the buyers are for this category at these specific stores. And let's push forward using this sheet as our blueprint of customers that we're really going to focus on. The second really big thing from this sheet is that it gives you specific stores. So if it doesn't just tell you Pavilions or King Supers or Whole Foods, it tells you which specific store is requesting your product. So that's great for 2 reasons. One, if it's an independent or a small chain, you're able to just call that store directly, ask for the store manager, ask for the buyer. A lot of these independents, a lot of these smaller chains, the buyer's going to be, if not at that store that day, is usually, on some sort of revolving schedule and will be there at some time. So it's really great for those smaller independents or those smaller chains. The second thing is if you're going into a meeting with a Whole Foods or a King Soopers or a ShopRite, and you have the data from specific stores, those big accounts might not bring you into all of their stores right away. It's most likely that they're not, and they're going to bring you into a test. So instead of them dictating the terms of like, hey, we're going to test your product here, you're able to say, no, why don't we test it at these few stores? I already have requests for these products, and I can notify those customers once the product hits the shelf. Again, really giving you an ability to negotiate from a point of strength and bringing data back into the conversation. If there's any more questions on this sheet, please email me at Cameron@WeStock.io. I know this sheet is really the big part of it, and we're going to continue to build it out in the future. All right, so the next sheet is product zip codes. So right now it's not mandatory for a user to select a store. It will be mandatory by the end of the month. So this gives you a sense of all of the different areas that have been requesting your product. And again, there's going to be some repetition with the product store because those product stores are still shown here, but you're going to have some additional requests that pop up here that don't show up on the product store sheet. And then this just gives you the ability to say, okay, like let's see what regions we're really trending in, and then let's research stores in that area to see if there's some other stores that we don't have specific requests for that we can get into. And this is just a reminder that we notify the end user when you get into a new store by zip code. So they might request it by Walmart, but if you get into Target in their zip code, we'll still notify that customer that your product's now available near them. All right, and now we're going to go into more of the summaries, and this gives you just kind of general overview and some bigger picture data. The nice thing with this sheet is, so this is an age breakdown, and this gives you the breakdown of people who've requested your product by age. Now, if you sell on Amazon, obviously they hold their data under lock and key, and you're not going to get insight into who your actual customer is that is ordering your product. So this gives you a great idea of, okay, most of our customers are between 20 and 39. So our product is really resonating in those age groups. And so when you go to do a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or any sort of campaign, when you go to set those, specific kind of metrics for who you want to target, this is a great sheet to go to and say, okay, we're going to really whittle down on these age groups and make sure that you're spending the money to target the right consumers. It also really helps with, in-store marketing and really who you want to focus on. All right, the next one is going to be state summary. I would actually probably work off of this sheet more so than this product zip code sheet to start, because this is going to give you really your state, total requests, unique requests. So if I've got 14 or 15 requests in California, then I can go to my product zip code sheet, whittle down on those areas, and really focus on that. Or you can see, okay, I've got to really try to increase our requests in a certain area. But the nice thing about this is once you've dominated your region, right? And once you've done really well in your local market, this is a great sheet to go to and to say, okay, where should we focus our attention to next? Where should we expand? And really those conversations right now are being dictated by the retailer, right? They'll reach out to you, you'll meet them at a trade show. You don't know if that's really the best area for you to move into next, but the opportunity presents itself and you decide to take it. So this just gives you kind of an ability to see if you actually have demand in that area, and if customers are actually interested in your product in these areas. All right, and then this one is store summary. This is a great sheet to work off of on a more of a big picture scale than the product store sheet, because it's going to give you the specific store, the specific chain that's requesting your product. So you'll be able to see, Walmart, Kroger, Whole Foods, ShopRite, Meijer, and see how many overall unique requests you have for that product. So this really lets you know, okay, these are the big accounts that I need to focus on. This is how many specific customers are requesting my product. And then if I need to really whittle down and see which specific stores it is, you can always go to the product store page. Again, this is just great lead generation, great in terms of just giving you a blueprint on where to focus your sales efforts. I will say, just watch out sometimes with Google Maps, which we use as our API for the stores. It doesn't know the difference between a Walmart Supercenter and a Walmart neighborhood market, or a Walmart grocery pickup. So we'll be changing that, and it'll just all fall under Walmart in the near future. But just make sure that you're counting all the requests, because instead of Walmart just having 10, it could have 13. So just be on the lookout for that. And then the last thing we're going to go to is trend summary. This is one of my favorite reports, just because it's super fun to look at and really see what trends are performing well, and then to kind of go back and confirm that that's what your research is showing or what your customers are telling you. And so this is a great resource to use in terms of business development, packaging, product development. And so if you're thinking about getting your organic certificate, or you're thinking about getting your gluten-free certificate, or certifying your business as a approved women-owned business, you're able to go in here and say, okay, do people actually care about that? And now you're able to say, okay, well, 155 people actually chose organic, and that's our top trend. Or 112 people picked gluten-free. I'm going to make sure to get that certificate. Or, women-owned businesses 88. I'm going to make sure I go get that certificate. And the nice thing is you can also, when you're going to do packaging redesign, maybe you have 0 calories on your packaging, or maybe you have low sodium on your packaging, but your product is also non-GMO and dairy-free. And you realize those callouts are actually more important. So on my next round of packaging, I'm going to prioritize those and move forward in that direction. So this just allows you to, again, make decisions for your business from a point of data, and really making educated decisions for your business early on. And that is our mission here at WeStock. We're going to continue to build out these data reports. This is just the beginning in terms of what we're doing to really grow the business. And yeah, that kind of wraps it up in terms of what the specific reports mean for your business. The last thing I want to touch on is something that we'll touch on too in the marketing tutorial, which is brand link and product link. So this is always going to be in your report, and they're always going to be the same. And what these links do is you put them on your website, and then it brings them, if the person already has the WeStock app, it brings them specifically to your brand page or your product page. If they don't have the app, it'll take them specifically to the WeStock. App Store and show them and give them the ability to download the app. And so this is a great tool to put on your website by your store locator, or where you might have your product request form, to just have these links there so that you're constantly driving customers to WeStock, and again, constantly growing your requests every single week. And so we believe this is probably one of the best tools in terms of growing your request. And we'll cover that more in the marketing tutorial. But I just wanted to kind of bring your attention to that. These links do live in that file, and they're never updated, but they're always included in your WeStock report. So with that, that's pretty much the end for this tutorial. If you have any questions whatsoever, please shoot me an email at cameron@westock.io. And I really hope this tutorial helped kind of clarify what these data reports are meant to do for you and your business. Thank you so much.